good people. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. Today is a very special day for me. One of my best friends is celebrating her birthday. So, Danielle, if you're watching today, happy birthday. I love you. I'm going to be calling you in just a few minutes. But happy Friday to you. I am so thrilled for just Friday, right? Like the good energy of Friday. The sun is finally shining here where I am. It was a long week of just clouds, clouds, clouds. And I'm one of these people that I really need the sun. Like I need that sunlight. Some people do well in cloudy weather, and I'm okay usually the first day. But after that, I am just like, okay, I need some sun. So I am feeling all the rays of the sun this morning, the good energy. I also doubled up on my vitamin D because I was just like, okay, if I have one more day of these clouds, I might make it. Like as they say, might not make it, right? So it's like, oh my goodness. So, oh wait a minute, someone just joined in. Lori, I'm in Costa Rica. Yay! Yes, hey Lori, enjoy it. Costa Rica is so beautiful, and the sun, and get some juice, get some fresh juice while you are there. Get somebody to make you some fresh juices and drink in the sunshine. Enjoy. How long are you going to be there? Put it in the comments. Like, I want to hear all the good things. So share with us. But yeah, I'm glad you are there. Enjoy yourself. I will tell you what, I am happy that we have the sun. I want to share something with you this morning on my live. I recently earned a contract to deliver wellness talks throughout the state of the in a region in Maryland. It's all about prevention and wellness and health, and they're at different centers in Maryland. I am so excited about it. I'm so grateful and thrilled. This was someone who receives my newsletter every Monday and Wednesday, and they were like, I want you to come and speak at my, locations and whatnot. So I have this contract that I am so thrilled about. You'll see me sharing the pictures and whatnot. This is wonderful for me because there's nothing that I love more than talking and teaching and sharing about wellness and prevention. So I was going to share something else today, but I gave the first talk yesterday. So I was like, you know what? I should share some of the things that I talked about yesterday. So this was a group of women. There were about 14, 15 women, diverse group. They were like, I'd probably say mid 50s and over. And so what I presented on yesterday was annual physicals and essential tests and more. Okay. So I spoke to them about the current state of healthcare and just general healthcare, wellness, physicals. And then I shared with them the quiet revolution of functional medicine. These ladies were blown away, had no idea that there is a thing called functional medicine, functional nutrition. So I shared all the inside tips with them, and I'm telling you, they were writing and taking notes, and they asked me a million questions. And I'll tell you what, I thrive in environments like that, like where people, for one thing, they want to be there. There's no dragging horses to water. They've already registered for this, and they are eager to learn. So the ladies, those of you who were there yesterday, who are watching me, I am sending the biggest shout out to you and just giving you my heart of love because you are doing the best thing you could ever do for yourself, which is to take a preventive approach. You were out there learning and sharing and asking questions. And, can I come to your office? And yes, you can come to my office. I'm just so super proud of you. I love, love, love when women like step up, people in general, let me say, but women specifically, because for years you've been putting your health on the back burner. For years, I'll get to that, I'll schedule this, da da da. And you took that all important step of saying, I am going to carve out this time for this woman who is coming to give this lecture. You showed up for yourself. You showed up for each other. We had a great time. So I'm looking forward to, as I make my way around the speaker circuit in this contract, I'm looking forward to coming back to seeing you again. So thank you so much for giving me a beautiful day yesterday because I love teaching. I love sharing. 30 years. 30 years I've been doing this work, so I have a whole lot to share. And those inside tips that I gave you yesterday were real. So I want to share with the rest of you who were not there. I was talking about annual physicals and essential tests. And then I spun in the functional medicine. Here's something I just want to give you this morning. Go back to basics. Go back to basics. There's a lot of information in the marketplace right now. There's functional nutrition, there's gut testing, there's nutrient testing, there's hormone balance, there's all this other stuff. But I have one question for you. When's the last time you had a physical? When's the last time you had a basic physical to check all the basics? Okay. A lot of people are not getting physicals this year. And I may have said this on another live, but I have to say it again. Why are you not getting annual physicals? Why are you waiting to go to the urgent care or emergent care or ER when you're sick? Why are you not getting basic physicals? Here's the thing about your basic physical. It's basic. It's covering all the foundational stuff. Are you getting liver and kidneys checked? Liver function tests. You're out here taking these over-the-counter things like Tylenol and Motrin and all these other things. Are you checking your liver and kidneys with a CMP, complete metabolic panel? Okay, that's blood work. Are you checking those liver and kidney function numbers? Are you looking for anemia? Okay, with a CBC. That's another basic lab test. It's a basic lab test to detect anemia. Now you may say, I've always been anemic. One woman said that, I've always been anemic. Just because you've always been anemic doesn't mean it was the right way to be, right? The other thing is, anemia assumes that you don't have enough red blood cells. Your red blood cells are inadequate. There's other types of anemia. You want to figure out, is this iron deficiency anemia? Is this thalassemia? What's going on with this anemia? Okay. And why are you anemic? If you're a woman of a certain age and you're no longer having menstrual cycles, where are you losing blood? Could you be losing blood in your colon through colon cancer or colon polyp or things like this? Are you getting colonoscopies? Are you just doing the fecal occult blood test where you just put a little sample of stool on there, you use a little reagent and it turns blue and it tells you, oh my God, there's blood in your stool, could be a polyp. These are the basic things that I want to see people get back to. I love functional medicine. I love gut testing. I love hormone testing. All those things are real. They're important. Yes, they give a lot of useful data, but here's the other thing. Why worry about that if you don't have the foundational wellness together? It's just like, worrying about putting curtains in the windows on the third floor, but, there's a crack in the foundation down in the basement that's not going addressed, right? You got to get that foundational work done, okay? So what I was sharing yesterday is get back to having basic physicals, annual physicals. That is where you want to be having these conversations first. Also, make sure when you go for your annual physical, here's something that I want you all to really be empowered about. When you go for your annual physical, don't rush through 2 sections on your intake form. Do not rush through your past medical history and do not rush through your family history. There are a lot of tests that you all should be having that you're not having because no one knows that you have a family history of such and such. Let me give you a perfect example. Family history of aneurysm. If you have a family history of aneurysms, okay, that weakened tissue in the aorta, then you should be getting scans to check your aorta at a certain stage in life, right? You should be checking that cholesterol on a regular to make sure there aren't deposits in that aorta that could weaken the lining of that aorta and cause an abdominal or thoracic aneurysm, okay? If people don't know that you have that family history, they're not just going to order that on a routine physical because it's not part of a routine physical, right? So what I'm saying to you is, here's another example, family history of colon cancer, okay? If you're 30, no one's going to give you a slip to go and get a colonoscopy, but if you have a strong family history of colon cancer, when you have that physical, that is something to say because it may warrant you getting tested earlier than the age of 45 or 50, whatever the clinical guideline is. One more example, breast cancer. If you have a strong history of breast cancer in your family, okay, you want to do that BRCA 1 and 2 testing for genes. You want to get those gene tests done because you want to figure out, could you be the next person, God forbid, who it has it in your breast cancer in your family, okay? But again, no one's in an annual, people say, well, my doctor doesn't order that in an annual physical. Well, did you ever tell your doctor or nurse practitioner that you have this as a family history? Because I would think that person would then say, oh, well, let's go ahead and get this tested, okay? You may have to test in early. All of these clinical guidelines that you do this at 50, this at 60, this at 30, those are guardrails, okay? Those are just guidelines, but it's not law, right? It all depends on who you are, what your family history is, what your past medical history is. All of those things will change clinical guidelines. This stuff is not written in stone, but they're guidelines to help us clinicians have sort of a framework for our practice. A smart clinician, of which I count myself one, is always going to look at the person in front of them and say, okay, well, listen, based on your past medical history, on your family history, I want you to get this scan, okay? And let's see what it is. Let's see if there's any possibility. And then after that, then we will routinely do these scans or whatever the procedure may be based on what the findings are, okay? So there isn't anything written in stone. And here's what I want to say to you about urgent care and the ER. They are not going to do that because that's not their role. The role of urgent care is to address your urgent issue. It is not to discuss all of your primary care issues. The role of the ER, oh, I went to the ER and they never did such and such. That's because that's not their role. I'm coming from 30 years of practice where I did work in the ER. I did work in trauma. I did work in ICU. And let me tell you, in the ER, that was not the time for me to ask you about whether or not you had a mammogram. That was not the time for me to ask you whether or not you'd had your, pneumovax vaccine because you're diabetic, right? That was the time for me to work on what needed to be worked on to save your life in an emergency. So I want folks to understand that every branch of medicine is there for a reason. They are there for a reason. Primary care is meant to be primary care to address your foundational wellness. Find oh, Angel, there's no primary care. That's not true. They may be hard to find, but they are there, okay? Keep looking until you find one, okay? Ask friends, ask your dentist, ask your beautician, when you're sitting there getting your hair done. Hey, who's your doctor? Do you like your doctor? Do you feel like your doctor answers your questions appropriately, or your nurse practitioner, okay? Start getting back to the basics. That's what I shared with these ladies yesterday. I gave them a nice long list of all of the routine labs that they should be either getting, and if they're not getting, they should be asking for, and if they're asking for it and not getting it, then they should be asking why they are not getting it, okay? Because these are clinical guidelines. Talking about things like the CMP, Complete Metabolic Panel, the CBC, the vitamin D test, okay, vitamin B12, folate. There's a long list of things that you should be having on your lab order when you go to get your labs. Those labs should also be getting done fasting because that's how you're going to determine, your blood sugars, your A1C, if you're pre-diabetic, okay? I also shared with them, I asked them, this was very interactive. We had so much fun. I said, okay, so let's assume that you get your labs done, you get your results. How often should you be going back to get your, to have a reevaluation? So one person said, well, the doctor usually says, we'll keep an eye on it. Well, you tell me, what does keeping an eye on it mean? What does that mean? Does it mean that we're going to check it again next year? Does it mean we'll check it again in 2 years? I mean, what does that mean? Let me give you an example of how bad that is when someone says, we'll just keep an eye on it and doesn't give it a timeline. Let's just say you have a fasting blood sugar of 140, which you know and I know that that is, diabetes range, pre-diabetes or diabetes, depending on, how many times you get that high level. But let's just say you just get it one time, 145, and your provider says to you, well, we'll watch it. Your next question should be, how are we going to watch it? Are we going to repeat this lab? Should I have it repeated? When should I have it repeated? When should I book my next appointment? In fact, you should be booking that appointment before you even leave the office. You should be getting that lab order to repeat it before you even leave the office. Okay. So that was the answer one person gave, but my answer is every 3 months. If it's high enough, if it's an elevated blood sugar, that should be repeated in at least 3 months. You know why? Because that gives you the opportunity to do something about it. If your person is saying to you, we'll watch it and we'll look at it again at your next physical a year from now, do you know how much can change in a year? In a year. I have seen, and I showed these ladies yesterday, in lab reports, I have seen fasting blood sugars come back on physicals 150, 120, 175. Oh, we'll watch it. If you keep watching that, sitting and just watching it, you're missing out on the opportunity to do something about it. I check my fasting blood sugars and my A1Cs in my patient population every 3 months, every 3 to 4 months at the most. And you know why? Because that gives them 4 opportunities in the course of 1 year. There's 12 months in a year. So if I'm checking it every 3 months, that gives us 4 opportunities in the course of a year to get in there and reverse this pre-diabetes, this condition, whatever it is that they're dealing with. It gives us 4 opportunities to get to the nutritionist, to get to the dietitian, to get to diabetes education classes, to get them into a fitness program, to ask their insurance to cover some health coaching for them if the insurance will cover it. Okay, maybe they've got stress in their lives that's running these blood sugars through the roof and preventing them from being able to, focus on meal prep and meal planning and all this other stuff. That's an opportunity to get some coaching or some therapy to deal with life stress, because we know in diabetes, stress is going to throw that blood sugar out the door. Okay, it's going to put it through the ceiling, so to speak. That is 4 opportunities to do something about this within the course of a year. That's a lot of opportunity. If you are not rechecking that blood sugar until 6, 7, 8 months down the road, you know how many parties you've gone to in that time where you're just eating any old thing and you don't even know that this is running your blood sugar through the roof. You could be, stressed out, not having the opportunity to do something about that. You're missing out on diabetes education classes. You're missing out on an opportunity to meet with a nutritionist. Hey, you're missing out on the opportunity to even be checking your blood sugar at home yourself. The minute, and I'm speaking for me, okay, anyone who's a doctor, physician, nurse practitioner, if you get on my feed, in my feed, and say, oh, I don't do that, what I'm going to tell you is, keep doing what you're doing, because this is what I do for my patients. Legal, ethically, morally, this is my way of practicing. So I'm not here to argue about what anyone else does. This is how I care for my patients. Every 3 to 4 months, we are going to be checking these blood sugars, and we're putting an action plan in place. Where are we with the dietitian? Where are we with the nutritionist? Where are we with the lifestyle, the coaching? Are you in my community learning some? Because I invite my patients into my community. Everything that you see about me, like people say, my private membership community, people say, oh, well, that's a conflict of interest. It's only a conflict if you make it a conflict, right? They don't come into my private community talking about their health challenges. They come into my private community because they get more of me one-on-one. They get the me that they can't get at an appointment for, on the weekend, right? Because I don't have appointments on the weekend. So if they message me on the weekend, hey, Angel, I'm at the food store and I'm thinking about such and such, I can respond to that in my private community. I really want my patients, my coaching clients, people that, want to live longer and live better, I really want you to live longer and live better. This is a beautiful life. This is a beautiful, beautiful life. This life is a gift. And I want you to do everything you can to change your life, not just your symptoms. That's what I'm here for. And that's why I created the private community, because it's not Facebook. It's not, where you have to like put all your stuff out there and general public is going to be seeing it. It's a private community. So anyhow, that's what I was sharing with them yesterday, that this is my style of practice. These are the things that I encourage you to discuss with your doctor, your primary care person, your nurse practitioner. And, no one can advocate for you like you can advocate for you. You are the expert in your body. I'm not the expert. I may work 30, 40, 50 years in this field, but you are the expert in you. I can't be an expert in you because I'm not living your life. I'm not living your experience. I don't know your medical history. I don't know your family history. Only you are the expert in you. Okay. So I expect my patients to come. My appointments are a little bit longer than the average, like 15, 20 minutes, because I create space for my patients to put it all on the table so that I can be a better provider to you, right? So it's not like 15 minutes. They have longer appointments so that we can cover as much as we can cover. We don't cover everything in one appointment, but we cover a lot in the appointment so that then I can say, okay, these are the things I want you to get checked. These are the things we need to fine tune. How are you doing with your therapist? What did the nutritionist say? Let me give the nutritionist a call and see what meal plan she has you on. Let me give you a meal plan. That's another thing I do in the private community, is meal planning and meal prepping. So I was talking about all of this, and that's what I wanted to share with you all in this live today. Get back to the basics. I know you're hearing a lot about gut testing. I know you're hearing a lot about hormone testing. Hell, I'm even talking about gut testing and hormone testing, but just understand that that is next level, okay? That is not the basic stuff. Even though it's root cause medicine, I want you to just get the basics and get a healthcare provider for yourself who's willing to do that foundational wellness for yourself, because getting all into gut and not even solving some of the other stuff is just like sort of like putting the cart before the horse. Okay. Annual physical. Annual physical does not mean annual physical, you see the provider one time and you never come back. Not unless every single thing in your life is together. Your weight is where you need it to be. Your blood pressure is where you need it to be. Your heart rate is where you need it to be. Unless everything is perfect, this seeing the doctor only once a year stuff, that's a thing of the past too. Even people whose labs are perfect, I will see them in 6 months. It's just a check-in. It's just like anything else. You take your car in to get your filters checked, you get your oil checked, all that other kind of stuff. It's the same thing with a check-in. Well, Angel, what do you talk about at the 6 months? I talk about everything that we talked about at the physical. Are you still doing well? How's your stress level? Have you been checking your blood pressure every now and again just to make sure that it's okay? We check up on the things that it's a checkup, in 6 months. So even the people whose lives are really together, I still do a check-in because everybody's dealing with real life. We all have some stress. We all have a little bit of weight we want to lose. We all have some sleep we need to clean up and say, hey, you know what? I'm not really sleeping very well. What do we call this? Seasonal affective disorder. We're all suffering with this little bit of sunlight that we're getting. So I do 6-month checkups, even just in the event that everything is good, just to make sure, and to follow up and make sure, did you get that mammogram? Okay, let's check and make sure, that you got that mammogram, that you got that colonoscopy, that you went and got that coronary calcium score. Let's see what your calcium score was, and then let's talk about what we need to do about this cholesterol, or if we need to just keep monitoring and things like this. Are there any labs that we need to repeat? This is good primary care, foundational wellness medicine. One more thing I want to share, something that I create for my patients and that I actually think I'm going to create for the general marketplace. It's a doctor book, okay? This is where you go and you organize everything that you need to present when you go to your appointments. I made one for my sister-in-law. made one for a couple of patients of mine. Definitely make it for my elderly patients. And I got a couple of them at the office, but I think I'm going to make some more or have them printed and made. But anyhow, it covers key areas of your health that is all organized so that when you go to your appointments, it's at your fingertips. Okay. So it includes things like your medications, it includes your diagnostic tests, your hospital admissions, ER visits, any physical therapy you may have had after a car accident, things like that. It's got a running calendar in there, diagnostic test reports, got a lot of stuff in here, but it's a basic organizing system. If it's something that you're interested in, just leave me a DM and I'll get the pricing information out to you about that. But all of my patients who are caregivers have this book. I absolutely require them to have this book. Helps them organize their lives. Because guess what? If you're a caregiver, my goodness, like, and I'm a caregiver, I'm telling you, you are pouring yourself out in myriad ways. You're probably putting yourself on the back burner in myriad ways. You need a way to organize your own health, because the only way that you can care and give care to someone else is if you are well enough to be able to give that care, right? So I developed this organizer. They absolutely love it. My caregivers, they have one for themselves and they have one for their loved ones. And I'll tell you, they are on the ball when they go to their doctor's appointments. Their doctors are often like, their other specialists are often like, who do you see for your, who's your provider? And they'll say Angel Shannon. And in my community, I have a lot of people that I collaborate with. So people know me because of, we refer to each other and whatnot. And they always say, you stay with her because, I'm serious about what I do. I'm not out here playing games and stuff. So anyhow, this organizer tool has been very helpful for my caregivers and for my patients, coaching clients as well. And if it's something that you're interested in, like I said, just leave me a DM or put it in the comments, and I'll get that pricing information to you. I only have a couple of them, I think, in the office, but I am going to get some more printed up. So that's what I have to offer to you. Oh, and it's a wonderful tool for your specialties as well, because there's a section in there for specialists too. And they really love that, because specialists, they're quick, like all they're focused on is your kidney health. All they're focused on is your neurological health. They just want to know, they want to get right to the sauce. And so having this organizing tool helps the specialties more so than anybody else. Because let me just say one more thing. A lot of times people go to appointments and, well, that should be in my chart, or they should have sent you that report. Maybe they should have, whoever they is. But the fact of the matter is, healthcare is moving at such a fast pace, and it is rare. It is so rare that we get reports from other specialties and things. People mean well. I mean, let me just say, they mean well. This is not a slight against my colleagues. The neurologist sees a lot of people. The nephrologist sees a lot of people. The gynecologist sees a lot of people. They are seeing patients. They are taking care of your health. They don't always have the bandwidth for making sure that this email went here and that email went there. Their support staff is there to do that. And sometimes things don't get sent. We live in a world of faxes still. A lot of people are faxing things. That was back in the 80s, but they're still faxing things. Sometimes it sits on the fax. I mean, that's just the way it is. Is it right? No, but that's the way it is, right? So you have to be the agent in your healthcare. You have to be the authority. You have to have all of this stuff in a place that you can get to it, so that when you get in that appointment, right off the bat, you can say, no, I have that MRI. This is what it was. I have that x-ray. This is what it was. I have that mammogram. This is what it was. I have those lab results. These are what they were. I have that, that referral from the physical therapist. I have that. I mean, you want to be just like this every single time someone is asking you about your health, because it's your health. Okay? Period. End of sentence. So that's what I got for you today. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you see me turned up today, turned up, it's because these speaking engagements that I do and these lectures and things that I am invited to do just light me up. I love teaching so much. If you have a group that you want to invite a speaker to, and if I can get it on my calendar, if it's something to do with wellness or health, let me know, reach out, because this is where I thrive. I love teaching so much. I'll see if I can get it on my calendar for 2024. Um, Hope it has been helpful for you. If you're watching the replay and you've got a question about something I've said or comment, drop it in the comments. Please be respectful. I will not respond to disrespectful comments. I will not argue in comments. If you're looking for an argument, that doesn't take place here. Not on my feed, not on my channel at all. But if you want to have an intelligent conversation about something that I've said or shared, please do leave it in the comments. So I'm just going to put that out there and leave that at that. And y'all who like to argue, just know that we don't argue over here. We have intelligent conversation. All right. Be well. Be good to yourself. Oh, I've got Monday, Heart Math is coming up. Happier and Healthier with Heart Math. Go to my website, sivahealthgroup.com/events. I'm teaching on heart math again. Once a month, I do these sessions. It's all about stress management, emotional regulation, using heart math as a tool to really help develop heart coherence, which has been clinically studied worldwide for the past 30 years. If you're not doing heart math, you're missing out on something big. Heart math measures heart rate variability, which has been tied to many different clinical conditions, including depression, anxiety, dementia, cognitive impairment, insomnia, all kinds of things. So people are using heart math all around the world to live longer, live better, to develop heart coherence, to heal their hearts, to relieve stress, and all kinds of stuff. So that's on Monday at 12 noon. The link to register is right on my website, sivahealthgroup.com. Just click on events. Use that link to register. I'm going to go live and teach, whether it's one person or 101. I'm just going to put it out there and teach, but you got to register and get enrolled for the handouts and all that kind of good stuff. Okay. That's a private class. That's not going to be live. So you got to register for it. sivahealthgroup.com/events. Okay. That's where all of my events are. Last announcement, Retreat 2024, Design the Life You Deserve, a 5-day journey to renew, refresh, and reinvent your life. Registration is coming up at the end of the month. If you are not on my mailing list, there are only 4 seats left. Ladies who went last year already said, I'm going this year. They've already taken their suites. They've already got theirs. So there's going to be 4 more suites available. Registration is going to open for that at the end of the month. Design the Life You Deserve. It is a 5-day journey to renew, refresh, and reinvent your life. That's coming up September 2024. Registration is opening at the end of the month. Get on my mailing list at sivahealthgroup.com so you can get the announcements, so that you can get the early bird registration with a huge discount, and learn about the special add-ons that we have post-retreat. So we got 2 post-retreat add-ons this year that are just going to be amazing. So get on the mailing list. And if you want to travel with me in September, got to get on that mailing list and got to get that early bird registration. Okay, so those are my 2 announcements. Be well, be good to yourself. Never, ever, 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 ever be afraid to be amazing. Never be afraid to be amazing. All right, be well and be good to yourself. Have a wonderful weekend. If you enjoyed this, drop me a comment in the comments. Put a little like, save it, share it, do what is good for you. And I appreciate you just for listening in. Okay, take good care. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.